need to be able to count, crochet, and read all at the same time. And at this stage of life, evidently I can't do all three things at once. I can't do that. It's like when you're driving and you have to turn down the radio to see where you're going. That's the phase of life I'm in with this. I need to turn something off so I can continue to do other things. Hello. Today we're gonna go over some things that I've been making. A lot of these things I don't really like a whole lot. I haven't enjoyed making them. I guess that's more the appropriate thing to say, is I have not enjoyed them very much. One of them I really did. A couple of them I have not. It's probably me, but I haven't enjoyed them. And I am just kind of, my crochet right now, I don't know whether I'm not reading things correctly, I'm not paying good enough attention, I'm not interested. I don't know what it is, but I cannot follow directions well at all right now. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna blame perimenopause because it is evidently what's going wrong with all parts of me. Everything that's wrong is that. It's perimenopause. Did y'all know that it also can make your ears itch? Did you know that? It can. My ears itch like crazy, like on the inside, like touching my brain itching all the time. That is perimenopause. That's the hormones evacuating your system, along with I smell like 3-day-old roadkill a lot of times. I don't get that. Why do I smell like death and tacos? I don't like it. Because of this brain not working right. Probably because my ears itch so much and they're touching my head. Everything is hard. Everything is confusing, or I'm reading it wrong, I'm doing it wrong, I don't know. Today we're drinking from Dorothy, the Golden Girls. This is not Snoop. The Snoop bottle was not open. I already had a bottle of this open, which is Costco Sangria wine. Highly recommend. If you were a Costco shopper, there's sangria and it's in a really big bottle. It is worth every penny. It's so good. All these things I've made, I don't really like many of them at all. I try to, but I don't. So just know that going in. If I sound like I'm just kind of perturbed, I am because I have memories and they're scarred into me because the memories aren't good memories. Okay, let's start off with the worst one, shall we? Rowlf. I finally finished this guy. I started him last year, like November, December, something like that, right when the book came out. I bought the book and I made Rowlf. And I had to stop midway and it was on his head because the book instructions were horrible. I've been wanting to finish my whips. I've had several whips and I've been wanting to finish them, and he was one I've been putting off because I was frustrated and I stopped here on this mouth part because I couldn't make sense of it. Well, that was still the case. And after going through the book more, I've realized it wasn't just me. It was the book. The book is not put together well. I think it was really rushed. I'm not sure. Even like the stitch guide that tells you how to do things, there's no photos. There's no drawings there. And I feel bad saying that because I really like this guy. I like Drew Hill. I think he's awesome and wonderful. And I love it when men get into crochet and fiber arts and they start doing things. I think that's wonderful. But I don't like this book. It's just not done well. And this mouth, the instructions are really bad. And there's a QR code where you can go to for tutorials or some extra help, which on one hand I like, and on the other hand it bothers me why that's not in the book. Why there's not more details. Like there's no photos of this guy being made or built for you to have some process photos to go by. If you are like me, and evidently words are hard these days, I don't know. But there's none of that. And so I went to the QR code for more tutorial help. And there is one little tiny section, and even that was confusing. The photos were like 2 and they weren't good. And still there was no help. I ended up going online and I found a video of a woman doing this mouth. I used her technique with the stitch count from the book to finish this. My other complaint is that these guys in this book, the photos of the finished people are not the same as what you're making. Like, Rowlf's ears aren't the same. They're different in the book. They go all the way up here to the top of the head. the row counts are completely different, and I don't understand why the photos don't match these guys, and it frustrates me. And I really like Drew, but this book, don't buy it. This book needs a lot of work before I would say it's a good book, because, you know, I guess Meteor books have just spoiled me, and like technique, instructions, they have perfected whatever it is in those books. How they have all the pattern designers write their patterns for their books to meet this like outline that they have. And they're wonderful. And then when you come to an independent like this, you're breaking from that mold, and it's just hard. And if your ears are itching and you're in perimenopause and you're having to really think and do some critical work on this, I didn't have it. But finally he's done. I don't want to talk to Rowlf right now. I always felt I had a bond with Rowlf because, you know, he was a dog that played music. And, you know, he was in CD bars, and I thought, you and me, we could be friends. Not saying I was in a lot of CD bars, but yes, I have been in a lot of CD bars. I identified with him. That's where I'm gonna leave that, okay? I hated that I hated him so much in the making. I hated that. But he's done now, and I'm happy with the finished product, but it was because of me trying to figure out stuff and making things work versus what was in the book. And that made me sad for both the book and this guy. I don't ever want to work out of that book again for a long, long time. Maybe once my hormones are completely gone and I can think clearly again, this halfway point of them leaving and staying, evidently I can't figure stuff out to save my life, because the next one is the same thing. I was struggling. And here's the next one. Woodland Whimsy by Mariia Ermolova. Now y'all, I love Mariia. I love her. She is an amazing designer, and this is an amazing book. She is top-notch when it comes to designers. There's only 5 characters in this book, but these are some hard suckers. I did choose to do one. I did the hedgehog. In the book, her name is Lottie Pricklebush, which is magical. It is a magical name. But that, you 12-year-olds don't make me think about what that makes me think of. I'm just, don't. I can't look at you right now. I did not keep the name Lottie Pricklebush. Probably for this very reason. I changed mine to Helena, an emphasis on Helena Hedgehog, because that girl, she put me through things. And here she is. Here is Helena Hedgehog. She is done, and she is cute. She is. She ended up being cute, but there are so many things that went wrong, that I fudged, that I had to fix. She just uses techniques and styles that I am not familiar with. And she is such a detailed designer. I mean, really and truly, when she does clothes, she is creating, you know, like a line of clothing. I mean, these are very detailed things. Her brain must be amazing. She must have like all the folds and stuff like that in her brain. Mine is like, you know, getting slick and stuff. We have to be careful how she sits because of, I guess this is where the name Pricklebush comes from with her. I don't know. Admittedly, my dress is what was so frustrating, because looky here. Let's look at her. Let's strip her down and look at this girl. I started her back in May, and then I stopped working on her right here, when I was needing to make teacher gifts for the end of the school year. And I thought this was a really good stopping place because of this color work. Normally color work does not bother me. I actually really like color work. I think it's kind of fun and challenging, you know, working on the folds in my brain, you know, keeping the perimenopause at bay. Making things function slightly, just ever so slightly. This color work though is different because you're having to do yarn under, and I don't yarn under. I yarn over, and I'm just stuck there. I don't know how to yarn under. It's just not in my makeup. So you'll see how it's really tight down here, and it's because of that, because I didn't know what I was doing, and then I thought I would be doing it, and I think, well, did I just yarn over or did I yarn under? I don't remember. And I just get all frustrated. And as you can see from the back of her, it's not straight. Do you see that was all me. Those all mistakes and loose in some spots. Like right here, it's fine. But then down here, nope. Didn't go so well down there. But this just didn't go good. And it made me sad that it was so miserable. And I had to do it over like several days. Like I do 3 or 4 rows and then I'd just be like, I'm done with you for tonight. I'll see you tomorrow. And then I'd come back and I'd do a few more until the very end. This was hard. This was easy. The body was pretty easy, but I hated, and I want to emphasize that word, hate. I hated her feet. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I do like things that are amputees. I don't know. But I hated these feet so much because you make this top part and you make this bottom part and then you sew them together. And I don't like that. The nice thing she does do is that you crochet on the outside of the foot to make the leg, so you're not having to sew that on. But I didn't like these feet. Not at all. And so you have the seam on the outside, and I think you have to do that because of these shoes. Now for some reason my shoes were way too big for the girl's feet. She has 3 pieces of cardboard in here to give her a lift so that it actually looks like these shoes fit her, because y'all, they don't. If it weren't for the cardboard lifts, poor Helena would be kicking off her shoes with every step. Y'all, don't look up her dress. Be nice. I mean, this is cute. But she be miserable, y'all. She was miserable. The other thing that was hard was not the jacket itself, but these sleeves. She does this kind of stitching that I've never done to make this kind of a shoulder, which is amazing. You need to be able to count, crochet, and read all at the same time. And at this stage of life, evidently, I can't do all 3 things at once. I can't do that. It's like when you're driving and you have to turn down the radio to see where you're going. That's the phase of life I'm in with this. I need to turn something off so I can continue to do other things. And she was just hard. Now in this book, there are only 5 characters, and there's a different kind of outfit for every one of them. You're working on different things with each character, and they're all amazing. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying they're challenging. And she is truly an amazing, amazing designer. I really liked the duck, but man, y'all, I hate ducks. Let me tell you why. It's them feet. I hate making webbed feet. I hate making 1 little toe, 2 little toes, sewing them together. I hate that. And then the wings, same thing. 1 little feather, 2 little, sew them together. I don't enjoy that. So I really wanted to make him. But then I thought about those feet and I thought, no, sir. No, sir. Not today. Maybe should have paid more attention to the one I did choose, because those feet would have been easier than that dress. That's for sure. So if you do this book, just know it's amazing and wonderful and beautiful. If you're, say, my age and things are getting hard, it's okay to take a break, drink, cuss, because I did a lot of that. I did a lot of cussing, y'all. Helena, that is mild to the other things I called her. There were a lot of other things I said to that poor hedgehog. So I do recommend this book. Amazing, wonderful. I love Mariia Ermolova. I have done several of her things. My little chef that's back here, a lot of y'all asked me about him. That's actually from one of her Christmas gnome books. And I just made him look like the Swedish chef from the Muppets. And then I have, this is Sir Snows a Lot, because he likes big hats and he cannot lie. And I love him as well. These are amazing patterns. She does such neat techniques in her creations that nobody else does. And so if you really want to learn some cool stuff, I definitely recommend trying her things. But if you're new, don't try this book first. Try one of the gnome books first, because these are definitely more beginner, intermediate, advanced beginner kinds of books, and you'll learn a lot before you jump to a pre-AP college prep course like this one. Okay? Does that make sense? Great, but hard. You know, you need to be ready to struggle and suffer and drink and cuss. Here's the next one I made. It's an elephant. This is Hattie, the elephant. Isn't she cute? So many things went wrong with her too. It wasn't the pattern. It wasn't. This is actually from this book, which is an older book, but I love this book. This is my second thing I've made, I believe. I've made a bear also, and he was in the pajamas. There are 4 characters in here. They're all basically the same body, but with different heads. And all these outfits, which are actually interchangeable on all of the characters because it's all the same body pattern. And they are adorable. Please notice this is my new Merino Wool Yarn. And I think it looks beautiful on her. And y'all, this stuff was like butter. It was like crocheting with butter. I loved it so much. So many of my animals are going to be wearing merino wool from now on. No sense in struggling with not nice things. Nice things are nice. And this is nice. So, so nice. I hadn't done an elephant in so long and I was like, I need a trunk. I need a trunk in my life. So here's my trunk on Hattie. The part that didn't go well was the clothes. And it's not the pattern. I don't know whether I just stuffed my things too much and they're too fat, because the bear, I had the same problem, but the clothes are always too small. So I had to adjust the pattern by a lot to make room for this poor girl's booty and up here. Up here, I realized it too late. Where I put the armholes, which was in the pattern, was stretched so far that her nibbles and bits were showing. And I thought, you know, Hattie is not that kind of girl. She's not like, oh, Helena. They're different. They're not the same people. Although she is in a bikini, it's a modest bikini. See, she's got shorts here. Well, if you can kind of see here, the armpit hole is way over here. So that's why this ruffles here. So she had a little bit of modesty. I had to extend everything to be able to cinch up. And actually, I have sewn it closed. This button is fake. It's here, but it does nothing. She is sewn closed back there. And then her shorts, I had to do the same thing. I had to extend them a whole lot, and then I extended them too much. And that's why she has a drawstring here in the front. It's to cinch them up so they stay on. Evidently, everything this girl has on was gonna fall off. I don't know what it is, why I make such risque animals. I really don't know how that keeps happening. I mean, Rowlf is naked, but Rowlf was naked. In the book, she is actually supposed to be wearing a sun hat. My hat was, I adjusted it to what I thought would fit her head, because the hat in the book, once again, her head was too big for the hat. It wasn't gonna fit, so I did what I thought was right. I extended it by a row or two, and then I had to add more stitches and rows and things to fit what I thought was gonna work. That was wrong. It was all wrong. I spent 2 nights wasting all that. Did I frog that? No, I just threw it away, because what am I gonna do with that? And I'd already sewn in all the ends. I did not have time for that, y'all. It's in the trash. I don't care. I had too much of that yarn anyways. It did not hurt my feelings. It was some of my older, cheap DK yarn. And y'all know I hate DK, so I was fine throwing it away. So then I thought, you know what? I haven't seen any elephants wearing a bandana and their little head to keep their ears out of their face. So this is actually a free pattern. It's the picot bandana from the Turtle Trunk. She has a YouTube video and a free pattern on her blog, and it's really cute, but this was also a mess up. It's not the merino wool part, it's this edging. Somehow I'll put that all backwards. It's upside down. So this is the back side of the stitches, not the pretty front side. That's why she now has flowers to kind of hide those imperfections. And plus it needed something to break it up. So she got flowers on her head. That's how we say flowers here. Flowers. We don't put all the syllables in because we're Texan and we do what we want to. So I put flowers on her head to hide that and to give it a little bit of pop of color, because she needs something. She just wasn't popping enough. They look a little peculiar, but I don't care. They're glued on and they're staying. And this book is awesome. It's older. There are, I believe, 25 different patterns for clothes in here. Just don't stuff your stuff quite as much as I stuff my stuff, or go up a hook size on the clothes. That would probably help too, to make them fit better. This is just a great book. If you don't already have this in your crochet library, highly recommend this one. Now, one thing that I did make that was right was this little flamingo that I'll put a picture of, because I don't have it. It was actually a birthday gift for one of our friends, and she is a flamingo nut. She has so many flamingo things, and I wanted to make her one, but I needed a really quick pattern because I made this the day before. So I couldn't make one with really long legs, so I made this one. One of y'all commented on the video that it looks like it was Lieutenant Dan and there were no legs hanging down. And I couldn't unsee that. After you said that, all I saw was Lieutenant Dan and those little legs dangling, not really a whole lot. And I'm so glad that that little flamingo is living with someone else so I don't start calling it Lieutenant Dan. That pattern was so cute and I used sparkle yarn and I love the little hair tie. It was adorable. I'll put a link to her Etsy shop down below if you're interested in that pattern. Super cute, super fast, and it actually comes with a little bag that you make to put it in, but this was for an adult and I didn't have time to make the bag anyways, so I wasn't going to make the bag, but it does come with one. And another thing that I made that actually did work out was this. And this is a stuffed animal hammock. Like this is the corner that goes up in the corner, and then this part, it stretches across and it has the little pom-poms for my daughter's stuffed animals. We redid her room. She wanted to have some of her stuffies out. This one actually worked out fine. And it was wonderful that something that I made actually was easy and worked out like it was supposed to. I was so appreciative. I needed that one little, you got this, girl. I needed that to give me a little bit of confidence, because I tell you what, everything else I've been making lately has been knocking me down a notch. It has just been whooping my honey. But this didn't, and I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. And this pattern is by Liveslowcrochet. Super easy, super fast. I did it in a day and I was grateful. I was so grateful that something worked right. Now the other thing I wanted to discuss with y'all was the auction that's going to be coming up. I have finally figured out a way we're going to do it, and it was thanks to one of y'all, and it was Beverly. It is going to be through a site called Tiltify. And I've already had the charity, All Blind Children of Texas, create an account on there. And then when it's time for the auction, I will create all the things and the links for y'all to begin bidding. We'll have a set period of time and we'll do it that way. And the money will then go directly to the charity. And we're not going to have any of the issues. I will pay for shipping. I said that from the beginning, so I'm not going to change that. I will pay for the shipping if you will just pay for the item, and whoever pays the most gets the item. I was not expecting it, but that goose was a hit. The goose purse, I made a second one, and it's this one. Now she's a little smaller. She's not as big as the other one. I used a smaller yarn, smaller hook, but this one has the big bright flowers on it. And these are still flowers that y'all have donated, and I just thought this one was really cute. Those of you who were going to be fighting hard for the goose, there's going to be a second goose purse. I really was not expecting it to be as big of a hit, but I'm glad that it was. So there'll be two of them now. Since I'd already made one, I knew how to make that one again. So that was my other personal success. So I was like, yes. And now the auction, I'm probably going to be pushing that out to like August, September, because summer's just crazy. I think for me, for everybody, we don't have structure, and I need a little bit of time to kind of like pan everything out and get it working right. And I think I'm going to try to do a live with it. So I need Zach to figure that out, because Zach is going to be the one to figure that out. That gives me a little leeway time to make all of that happen. I'll be sure to put a link to everything that I talked about in the video down below. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We are almost to 7,000. Almost, but people keep subscribing and then unsubscribe, subscribe, unsubscribe. And I've been going back and forth between 5 numbers for 3 weeks. And I'm just like, somebody stay and like, just keep staying. That would be great. And we'll get to 7,000, and that'd be awesome, because my goal for this year is just 8,000. I think we can do it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time here on The Rumi Mill. Bye.